Welcome back to the Dreaming and Doing podcast. Today we're joined by Cody Robinson, the innovative mind behind HomeFit, which is a unique concierge fitness service tailored for the hectic lifestyles of professionals. And in 2022, he expanded his vision by franchising HomeFit. So today we're going to be talking with Cody about his experience as an entrepreneur, but also we're going to be talking about HomeFit and some information pertinent to the fitness industry and people who are wanting to be healthier. So welcome, Cody. Thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thank you, Melissa. I'm excited to be here, and yeah, let's see how this goes.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, Cody, I wanted to invite you to talk today because, we share a community. We're both business owners and we are part of a business community where we are meeting, talking, catching up, and kind of a space to, also hold one another accountable and just be encouraging. And one of the things that I heard you say on that call was when you were asked to share, hey, how are you doing? Give your update. You were like, hold on. Let me just pause and remember where I'm at. Like,
Yeah.
this is a space where I can be completely honest about how things are going. And your comment really got me thinking about really just how important it is for us to have spaces where we can be honest and, reasons why we might not always have that opportunity. And so I'm wondering if you have any thoughts on that, maybe reasons why we don't always have the freedom to be completely honest about how we're really doing.
Yeah.
And maybe, the value of having community where we can be honest.
No, I think it's ironic. I think you're spot on. And that was actually hard for me to do in real time, to actually stop and be like, I need to be real with you guys, because we're here for a community to support each other. But the interesting thing is not only, I think I'm starting to see that trend become more and more in the positive light for entrepreneurs, but I did a podcast a couple of weeks ago leading into the new year. And I think even the space of health and wellness and fitness, we're starting to see more and more people on the consumer side or general public that are trying to be more honest and more transparent, and even being more willing to do the things that they feel more compelled to do from a fitness or a wellness standpoint versus trying to fit in with what the trends are going, at that time of year. And I think it's becoming more and more just of a healthy approach. I think for so many years, even previous to COVID, that people were working so hard to paint two pictures of their life, the social side and the personal side. And so you have that internal battle, and then a lot of times we don't really meet up to what the social, us looks like. And so we have sometimes this internal struggle that we're not as good as the world thinks we are. And then COVID happened, and then we got really hard with reality. Some people leaned harder, I think, into trying to really tell the world that they were okay when it was getting harder and harder for a lot of us to function without, direct social support, more personal in-person support. Anyway, but I think we're coming out of this phase now where I feel like more people, which is my hope, heading into 2024, that we will allow ourselves to be more open, more transparent. We don't necessarily have to always air all of our dirty laundry, all of our struggles. We don't have to be so transparent that it's like, okay, that's too much, but be willing to trust that the people who are genuinely in our circles that genuinely want to help really take that feedback and really want us to be more open and honest. And I'm personally myself, not to overspeak and get too long-winded, but that's one of my biggest things this year is to continue to be that way in the majority of my spaces. And I'm already seeing the relationships get healthier. From a business standpoint, I feel like the results are starting to get better because there's not just this facade of like everything's fine. It's like we're all trying to do better. We're all trying to help each other. And if we're honest about it, it tends to come back around and work out in the benefit of everybody. So yeah, I definitely feel like that's the space that we're heading into.
Yeah, and that's so interesting to hear you say that, Cody, that in real time that was challenging for you to kind of catch yourself, because I just thought, wow, like, what a great moment, right? I think that when we're checking in with one another, like, hey, how are you doing? It's easy to be like, fine, fine, fine. And you caught yourself and was like, wait a minute, like, I'm not going to do that. This is my
Yeah.
chance to give an honest answer.
Yeah.
Um, And so I hear you saying, I see this trend, right? Even with your clients of wanting to be more honest, and you didn't say authentic, but that's kind of the word that's coming to my mind
Yeah.
is
Right.
really wanting to be in a place of greater authenticity. And that for you as a business owner, that's what you're leaning into.
Hmm.
And I'm curious because I hear you saying that's my plan moving forward, and I've already seen some benefits from that. So
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear your thoughts on how you want to continue leading with authenticity and how you have seen benefits of doing that so far.
Yeah, it's a great question, or a great kind of lead into that. I think, during the harder years, when we were all trying to survive. I mean, from a leadership standpoint, you really try to do your best to put on a brave face. When everybody else is struggling, it's like we're going to be okay. We're going to get through this together, and we do. And sometimes we don't, but I think that was something that the wall, kind of got thicker in that regard. But prior to COVID, I feel like I was a lot more transparent with my trainers, my admin staff, even our clients. People want to know. I think that's one thing that the world of fitness can be very have a lot of makeup on it, and it can be really simplified. If like if you just commit to it and you have enough willpower, and life's just not that simple. It's a lot more it's a lot more messy than
Mm-hmm.
that. And I think what I'm finding already is that getting back to that space of like, the first couple of months of the year is a struggle for a lot of people. The weather's shifting. We're trying to identify what directions we're all wanting to head personally and professionally. And, and I'm starting to get better feedback from, my trainers by doing that. They're starting to be, I think, more transparent as well to let me know how can we help them improve their business? How can we help them impact their clients directly? And I think that's what triggered, honestly, I think that's what triggered me when we were in that last meeting, when I stopped myself, because I was like, if I'm not, with me being more honest and more transparent about whatever struggles I was going through or the reality of it, the authenticity of it, it's also going to open up the door for others in our group or whatever network we're in for them to also be more authentic and more honest. So I think that's one of the biggest reasons I think I stopped myself and I was like, this is a safe place. This is an area that we genuinely want to engage. And if we don't share the correct information, then how can we really get the actual, support and guidance and feedback to help each other? So,
Yeah. So, and also it sounds like part of it is modeling behavior for other people,
mhm,
right? Like on your team and stuff.
right. Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like, again, the industry a lot of times can be very hard. Fitness can be very hard and kind of in your face and raw. And one thing that I feel like we've tried for so many years from just the home fit brand. I mean, yes, we're more concierge. We come to you, we do in-home training or virtual, like we meet you where you are. But I think but we don't come in with that type of aggression. We come in with actual
Mm-hmm.
genuine friends that want to understand your lifestyle, and not just physically, but also mentally, emotionally. Like, what does your social support look like? If you're hitting a wall, if you're hitting a severe struggle, we want our clients to be able to reach out to us even on that level, of support, not just have, the workouts. And I think it's, yeah, that's just how I've always been and always been wired. But I definitely found myself over the last few years trying to more modeling of what the fitness industry pulls people to, and also turns a lot of people off from,
Hmm.
to the actual personal connection that's supposed to be a part of what we do.
Yeah. And I hear a little bit of, in your own journey, like I could just let people think that whatever they're seeing is, great and perfect. We're fine. It's fine. Everything is fine. I could go along with that.
Yeah.
Um, and, and yeah, I'm choosing not to. Um, so I'm wondering, because you have had these really big milestones, right?
Hmm.
Just in the time that I've known you. And I'm wondering if you would share about some of the really big things that people are seeing you do, and also like what have been the challenges as people are seeing these things where they're like, wow, that's great.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. I appreciate you asking these questions as well. One of the biggest things was for us to step out and start franchising the business itself. I've always treated Home Fit to be like a platform and partnership for very, very good, health and wellness professionals. A lot of times they'll be in a standard gym setting or a different atmosphere that really just sucks the life out of them. And so I've always wanted us to have just a direct partnership to be able to help them grow and get more opportunities. But then with franchising, it it allows us to expand that and to impact more people and to give the infrastructure for people in the fitness space or wellness space that want to have their own model, which is great. And it's going well. We're up to 4 franchises currently, as we speak, which is we're growing slow on purpose. But the other side of it, the struggle part of it, is that we literally have started 2 different businesses now. So at the one side of we're still handling our own personal training clients, our own consumer clients, but now we also have these franchise partners that we're supporting the growth of their business. And so we have to really help and make sure that we're in support of their enhancement and their reach. So it was one of those things. It's like a two-edged sword. It was great that we were able to enhance our reach, which our biggest 10-year milestone is to impact 1 million people. And that's from all angles. It's virtually, through in-home, all these things. But yeah, it didn't really, I don't want to say anticipate, but that's been the kind of a bigger pressure is, it's like we have 2 different businesses running at the same time now, which is a lot to carry.
Yeah, it definitely is. And, in our email exchange, I had mentioned, I think about that success iceberg that floats around the internet. I don't know if you've seen it, but
Yeah.
there's this success iceberg image, and success is the tip of the iceberg, and it's the part that everybody sees. And so everyone's like, wow, Cody, like, that's awesome. Like, look at you doing that new thing. Um, but what people don't see is all of the hard work that's happening behind the scenes, right? Even with fitness, right? Someone might be like, wow, look at so and so. Like, they really, they got into a good routine. But like, what they don't see is someone's alarm going off early in the morning, someone like, you know, grunting, and being upset that they have to like push them so hard in the gym or something, right? Like, they're not seeing the work that goes
Yeah.
into people achieving their goals sometimes. Um,
Yeah.
so I
Great.
think it's just
I
a
mean, it's a
great
great point.
reminder.
Yeah, it's a great point. And even further than that, it's like not just individual sacrifices, but sometimes people have to make other personal sacrifices or
Mm-hmm.
relationship sacrifices. Not in a bad way, but sometimes we find ourselves get to the point where if I'm going to get myself better, I may have to say no to going out at this time of night or
Mm-hmm.
somebody pulling me to that direction. So you're right, not just the physical, but also sometimes the personal side of sacrifice that people have to go through to get on their fitness journey, which we know is hard. So yeah, the iceberg that's a great analogy.
Yeah. So I always think of that because, so many of the people that I work with as clients talk about things that they see other people doing on social media, and like, these people are going on vacation and they're doing this and they're doing that. But
Yeah.
like, you're not seeing, the things behind the scenes, whether it's like, nope, we're not going out to eat anymore. We're going to save our money so we can go on
Yeah.
that trip, or whatever it is that they're doing.
Yeah.
Um, but certainly I think the same is true for business ownership, where people don't always see the effort or the hours that goes in behind the scenes.
Yeah. I think that's one thing that really stuck out to all of us when we did join or a part of the small business program was that it was like we were speaking everyone's language. It's like we almost didn't even have to express, the burdens that are carried to grow it, to grow our businesses. And so it's, even though there's a lot of us out there, it was interesting to be, strategically connected to each other in such a way. It was like being a part of almost like a part of a club. So, but yeah, it is funny too.
Community.
Yeah, definitely. It is funny too. I think, sometimes when somebody does give that type of praise, which I'm grateful that we're all that way in the group, because we know how hard it is, to have any type of
Mm-hmm.
success or milestone or to go through it. It's funny how sometimes it can feel rewarding, but then sometimes somebody can be like, good for you. And knowing that within the next hour, they're not going to be thinking about you anymore. So it's like, are we working towards the gratification? Like what's really our why, and staying
Yeah.
committed to our actual journey versus what the rest of the world really thinks, which is why I think circling back around to how we started the conversation was why I think authenticity is so important, because it also makes sure that we're authentic with ourselves,